Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Mario Fatemi. Getting into our final segment of the show here, we're going to take a look at the San Antonio Spurs and specifically take a look at Stephen Castle. Stephen Castle winning the Rookie of the Year award this year. One of the best younger players in the NBA. A phenomenal player that has really showed up for the San Antonio Spurs, especially in the second half of the year. Overall, it was a phenomenal performance from Stephen Castle so far this year. Starting off the bench, behind, I believe it was behind Devin Vassell, and then ultimately growing into the starting lineup with when the De'Aaron Fox acquisition happened in the mid-season trade. With De'Aaron Fox in the lineup, Wembanyama, Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, and I'm trying to think of who they played at the 5. I think it was Jakob Poeltl. Overall, San Antonio Spurs are one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Are they the best youngest team in the NBA? Are they the best out of everybody? I don't know if I can say that, just because if you take into account the Oklahoma City Thunder, for example, I believe their average year of age is 23 years old, and they're the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, just finished sweeping the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round, looking to face whoever wins the series between the Nuggets and the Clippers. Plain and simple, they're probably head and shoulders above the Spurs. But here's where it gets interesting. And I probably should have labeled this future young talent as well, because I'm looking at this from now and in the future. The San Antonio Spurs have an opportunity to get the number 1 overall pick this year. It would be the second time. Would it be the second time in a row? Well, it would be at least the second time in 3 years, with drafting Wembanyama 2 years ago, and now if they can get the number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flag, in the first round with the number 1 overall pick. The lottery will not happen for a little while now, just because I think the draft is mid-June or mid-May or mid-June. I always forget. But San Antonio Spurs are one of the best young teams in the NBA, for sure. If they can get their hands on Cooper Flag with Wembanyama, with Stephen Castle, with De'Aaron Fox as your point guard, let's say they acquire another young superstar with this team. Say they get a Giannis Antetokounmpo, or they get a Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's name has been a dark horse name linked to the San Antonio Spurs. I think that would be an interesting fit for him. Just for a team in the San Antonio Spurs that wouldn't have to trade. I don't think they would have to trade for Kevin Durant. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. But as a whole, San Antonio Spurs are just one of the great younger teams in the NBA. If they can keep their core, if they can get another young star with this team, it doesn't have to be a superstar like a Kevin Durant. If they could get a Zach LaVine, if they could get a DeMar DeRozan star player, someone on that level, I think it would really, really boost this team's confidence, especially if they add a Cooper Flag in the offseason or in the draft, or whoever they draft with the top 5 pick, because this year's draft is one of the deepest drafts we've seen in years. It is star-studded, top-down. LJ Cryer, you have Cooper Flag, like I mentioned. Con Knipple is a stud. He's going to be a star in the NBA. I don't, if you guys can go back into my old videos when I was talking about Duke versus Houston, or was it Duke versus Houston? Who did Duke play? I think it was the Elite 8 game. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been against Alabama. I'm trying to think back really quick. But Con Knipple in one of those games, when Cooper Flag took a little bit of a step back, I think it was Alabama, when he took a little bit of a step back because of how Christian Youngblood was defending him. Con Knipple, is a freshman, a 6'11 guard who can shoot the ball, who's an unbelievable shooter. Shoot the ball. I called him the second coming of a Klay Thompson. A taller, better defensive player than like Klay Thompson-esque. I really did, because of how he shot the ball. Catch and shoot guard who can shoot the lights out from 3-point range. That is Con Knipple. If the San Antonio Spurs can get their hands on a Concaniple, that would be awesome for them. Of course, Cooper Flag would be better, but just in case they don't get the number one overall pick, just because I believe there's a three-way tie for number one, and then the Spurs are either 4 or 5 in that lineup in terms of who has the best odds to acquire the number one overall pick. But yeah, if they can get that guy, if they can get a good pick in the draft, if they can add a player from the free agency market, continue to grow their core group of guys. Wembanyama obviously suffering from blood clots in this year during in the middle of this year. We know he's one of the best. We saw him in the first half of this season. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He really is. There's a reason we call this guy the alien, because we can't call him the freak because of Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is an alien. He really is. The way he's able to dribble the basketball, able to rebound, able to block shots, able to shoot the ball. A guy 8'3" should not be able to shoot the ball the way Wembanyama is able to shoot it, from especially 3-point range. If he can continue to grow his game from out there and grow into a shooter like a Karl Anthony Towns can shoot the ball from 3-point range, like an Aaron Gordon, this guy could arguably go down as one of the best NBA players in NBA, one of the best players in NBA history. Not just because of his talent, but because of how much of a mismatch he is against anybody. He's a foot taller than almost anybody. Seriously. He looks down to Shaq. He looks down to Nikola Jokic. He looks down to Giannis Antetokounmpo. These guys might be bigger than him in terms of strength, in terms of build. But when you're talking about rebounding, yeah, you can probably bully him into the front row. Hit him with the shoulder tackle, he'll fall all the way into the parking lot. But all he has to do is do this, and he has the ball in his hands before you can even look up. He doesn't, to put it into perspective, he does not dunk. He does not jump when he dunks. He literally just does this. Or stands on his tippy toes and does a little hop, a little Nikola Jokic hop. Seriously, he can't. He just doesn't. So, San Antonio Spurs are one of the best young teams in the league. Well, I'll probably have a little bit more to talk about this when the news about Greg Popovich comes out. Just to give a little bit of an insight on that, he did suffer a midseason stroke in November. He had multiple heart attacks, I believe, in the last couple months. So I would not be shocked if Greg Popovich steps away from the game of basketball, retires, calls it quits. He is one of the best NBA coaches, easily one of the top 3 NBA coaches of all time. In that conversation for sure. If Pat Riley decides to become a coach again, I would not be shocked if he decides to go to San Antonio to take over for Greg Popovich. They do have a guy by the name of Tim Duncan, who's an assistant coach there right now, who's continuing to grow into a head coach, has been a head assistant coach since he retired from the game of basketball, from playing with the San Antonio Spurs. So I would not be shocked if Tim Duncan was hired as the head coach for this team moving forward. But overall, yeah, that's the San Antonio Spurs for you. It's all going to come down to the coaching. If they can continue to grow their young core, who they draft in this year's upcoming NBA draft, because they will end up having a top 5 pick. Either it's 1 or it's top 5. Like, you're looking at your best is number 1 overall, going with Cooper Flag, or you could go top 5 drafting a Christian Youngblood or an LJ Cryer. There's definitely better players. I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now. Excuse me, by the way. But yeah, as a whole, yeah, that's my spiel about the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, another packed lined up slate of NBA playoff basketball tonight, starting at 7 o'clock. We have the Detroit Pistons against the New York Knicks. Game 6 in Detroit. I cannot wait for that game because Detroit will be rocking. I don't think the New York Knicks are ready for what the Detroit Pistons are about to throw at them. With the level of noise that they are going to make in that building, they're going to need a special Jalen Brunson's performance, a special Karl Anthony Towns performance. A comeback game from Karl Anthony Towns could be enough to put the Knicks over the hump, but I would not be shocked if we see like a Cade Cunningham 40-point game Malik Beasley show up and give us 15 points. Tobias Harris, 15 points. Jalen Duren, 10 and 12. If Jalen Duren has a big game as well off the offensive glass like he did, he had 7 rebounds in Game 5. Do not be shocked if the Detroit Pistons win this game, regardless of what happens with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Plain and simple. And so that's a 7 o'clock game. And then the 10 o'clock, of course, we have the best playoff series in the NBA right now between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. So those are the 2 series. Those are the 2 hallmarks of the night. I cannot wait for either of those series to kick off, either of those Game 6. And hopefully we'll get a Game 7 and at least one, if not both of those series. But yeah. Thank you guys again for tuning into the GSMC Sports Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Before I say any more, I'm so sorry for those technical difficulties today. I know we had to stop the stream, get back on stream, be right back, pause the stream. It was a mess. It was a pure mess with losing scenes, with losing content, losing material. It was technical difficulties from top to bottom, and it was honestly an anomaly. I've worked here for a month and a half. I have not seen anything like this in my time here, and hopefully we never see it again, because first of all, I know how to fix it now pretty quickly, so that's pretty good. But yeah, hopefully we never see it again. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to both of these streams that kicked off today. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. Whether it's positive, whether it's negative, please let us know what you think in the comments below, because you guys are a big part of what we do here. Overall, let us know what we're doing well, what we can keep doing well. Let us know what we can improve upon. Overall, improve upon in general. Just let us know in general. Let us know what you want to hear more of, so we can build our shows around around your ears, around your minds in general. That way we can produce a better show, a better content in general. Please, we also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. This is Marif Temi, the host of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, signing off. Happy basketball to everybody here. Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets later tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to recap both of those series and hopefully preview a Game 7 over the weekend. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your days. Bye-bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to